Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you all the headlines from today's news in the world of Everton. So let's get straight into it, starting with the headline news today, and it's from Fabrizio Romano that Jake O'Brien was set for his Everton medical today, and that has now gone through ahead of his £18 million deal from Lyon to Everton. Yeah, so as I said before, that was reported yesterday by Fabrizio Romano that that was going to take place today. That is the case. Jake O'Brien is now set to sign his Everton deal, and he's set to sign on a 5-year contract with an option of a further year from the club. So I think for me that's positive. It's definitely positive to see a deal like this getting done so swiftly. We only found out about the initial bid on Saturday afternoon, just during the Salford game actually. So I think it's definitely positive that Everton have moved quickly on this and managed to get this deal over the line, and hopefully we can get him announced and maybe see him at Coventry tomorrow evening, or definitely at Preston on Saturday in an Everton shirt, starting his pre-season regime. But that's definitely positive to see, and it's definitely positive to see that these transfer sagas that we would have seen last year, you know, go on for months on end. It's good to see that we've got it completed within 2-3 days. So that's definitely a positive. And next to news today, Jack Talbot has reported that Everton have cooled their interest in Wilfred Gnonto from Leeds United. Again, I'm talking about sagas. This one is it's raged on for a year now, hasn't it? This Wilfred Gnonto saga. There's always been murmurs in recent windows, especially in January and in this window as well. Jack Talbot has actually reported today that Everton have cooled their interest. With negotiations reaching a stalemate between Everton and Leeds United, with Everton exploring other options, especially in the winger position. So I think this was probably on the cards. I think if it was going to get done, it would have been done, mid to late last week in terms of getting an agreement with Leeds in terms of those negotiations. But it hasn't happened. Whether we go back in later in the window, whether Gnonto moves on to another club, it remains to be seen. But Gnonto is keen on the move. Talbot has reported that Gnonto is definitely keen on the Everton move. It's just Everton and Leeds can't agree on a fee, and they can't agree on a structure to structure the deal. So I think it's a little bit disappointing for me. I would have liked to see Gnonto in an Everton shirt, certainly. But if the fee's not right and the negotiations aren't right for Everton, we have to move on to other options, and we have to move on to other targets. We've fallen foul so many times, haven't we, over the years to deals that haven't suited us, and look where it's put us in terms of financial fair play and financial predicaments. So I think it's good to see that Everton are standing their ground and not you know falling foul to Leeds negotiations and doing it on our terms. But at the same time, that Leeds have a valuation of the player. They're not going to come down on the player. So I think it's just one of those things where negotiations just have reached a stalemate. So yeah, Jack Talbot also reports in his article that we're interested in 31-year-old Ricardo Rodriguez after his expiration of his deal from Torino. He's played for the likes of Wolfsburg. The keen Evertonian and the Evertonian with the good memory will remember his free kick for Wolfsburg in the Europa League all those years ago. But he's a player that's he's getting on a bit now. He is 31, and I would expect him to come in if he was to come in as backup for Vitaly Mykolenko and provide positive competition for places. I think he would be quite happy to do that. We know he's so good from set pieces. We've seen it at Goodison Park before, but also in Italy, he's been so good at set pieces for Torino over the years. So I think it's definitely a positive one. But Inter Milan are also interested, so it's going to be a difficult deal. Whether we get this one over the line, it remains to be seen. But there is definitely interest there, as Jack Talbot reports. But also moving on to more incomings, L'Equipe have reported our interest in Strasbourg midfielder Habib Diarra. With the potential move accelerating in the coming days, it remains to be seen whether that could accelerate. I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about him. He plays for obviously Patrick Vieira's Strasbourg side. He's a midfielder. As I said, with the likes of the Lindstrom deal, the Iliman Ndiaye deal, and now the Jake O'Brien deal, it's the right profile of player for me. It's the right players with good potential. He's only 20 years old, so he has that high ceiling. So I think for me, deals like these are really positive, unearthing hidden gems in Europe rather than going for maybe tried and tested players in the Premier League, maybe going a little bit further afield, like likes of teams have done over the years and been so successful. Trying to unearth hidden gems and trying to get deals like that over the line. So it's definitely positive to see. Let's wait to see if this accelerates anymore in the coming days. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on. But moving on now to outgoings, the Guardian have reported that Everton will listen to offers for Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, with their futures at Everton in doubt. I think this was probably on the cards, maybe more so for Mason Holgate than Michael Keane. I don't think both of them will go. I think Michael Keane's probably more likely to stay than Mason Holgate is, but with Jake O'Brien coming in this week, I think their cards were pretty much marked very early in the window, and I think certainly Mason Holgate definitely doesn't have a future at Everton. So that remains to be seen whether a team will come in for him. I think he is into the last year of his deal now, so that remains to be seen whether negotiations can take place with another team for Mason Holgate and even Michael Keane as well. I think Michael Keane is a player that he can do well in a system, in another team in the Premier League. Whether that's at Everton, I'm not so sure, but if we were to sell both of them, I would like to see another centre half come through the door just for much needed cover. And I'll get onto why as well, because finally Pete O'Rourke has reported that Reece Welch is also looking to go out on loan with Dundee interested. So again, there's another centre back leaving the club. If Holgate and Keane were to leave on permanent deals, and then Reece Welch were to leave on a loan deal, it would leave us very light at centre half. So I'd like to see Everton, maybe if they were to get rid of two of those three, I'd like to see us bring in another body at centre half, but that remains to be seen. But that is all for today's news. Finally, I want to end on a little bit more of a somber note. All of us here at the Toffee Blues, myself included, just give our thoughts to and prayers to all the families affected by the Southport tragedy today, and all the events that are going on in Southport that are unfolding this evening. It's really sad to see, and my thoughts and all the thoughts of us here at the Toffee Blues are with everyone. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.